folks, today we are going to be working with a flat piece of clay. So our clay technique that we're going to use is called a slab. So a slab is like a sheet of paper. And we've been learning about our friend Wayne Thiebaud. Wayne Thiebaud did a lot of very food-related type pictures and paintings. So today we are going to be making ice cream cones. What we're going to do is we're going to have a form to follow so that we can trace it out and cut it out, and then we're going to be able to design the top, and I will also put a hole in the top. And what this does is it lets you do a few different things. One, you can always hang it, so if you want it almost like a wind chime, you could have it out there, or if you just want it as like a spoon rest, you can also do that too, and the hole doesn't hurt anything, but it just opens up the opportunities that you have. So let me turn my camera down so that you can see exactly what I'm doing, and then we'll get you started. All right, folks, to get our shape on there, we are going to be using a cardboard form. And a form is something that an artist uses to make sure that their design looks right and so that they can easily reproduce it if they need to. So with your form, let me just move those out of the way. Remember, we're on the back side of our clay mat this way. If we're on the shiny side, sometimes it likes to stick, but this back side has a little bit of a texture to it, so it keeps the clay from really sticking. And what we want to do is we want to find the best place for our clay. Like over here, it's going to be hanging off. It's not going to fit too well. Over here, it's not too well, but I kind of like the way it's going to fit right in here. So I'm just going to set that down into the clay, and then I need a clay tool. Now there's a few different clay tools that you can use to cut it out. One is a wooden tool. So we call these Kemper tools. They're made by the Kemper Tool Company, and you could trace around very easily with that. Inside here, there are also things that look like butter knives. These are called fettling knives. And these knives, they're not very strong. So if you're pressing really hard into this, you're going to break right through it. It's probably not the best tool for this because it's so big and there's so much to cut. So honestly, I like using the Kemper tools because I can hold it a little bit better, and it's a lot like a pencil, so you can trace right around with this. So I'm going to hold my hand on here. I'm not just holding one side because then it's going to move around. So I'm trying to spread my hand out, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut all the way down one side. So I'm going to go from one side to the next. What this does is it releases that whole section of clay that we don't need. Over here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut right along the edge. So I'm just dragging my tool right along the edge of my pattern. So now you can see I only have a tiny little bit left. So I'm just going to come around the top. I'm going to go right around, right around, right around. What that does, once we remove that, we have our shape. Now we want to be gentle with it. Remember, this is clay. We don't want to be bending it around and cracking it and ripping it in half. Once we have that done, now we have to figure out where our stuff needs to go. Once again, these tools are great because we can also use them to draw. So I'm going to figure out how much ice cream I want in here. So I'm going to say I want a lot of ice cream in here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a smile. The smile shows me where the ice cream is and where the cone is. Now there's different types of cones. I'm going to do a waffle cone that has a design that crisscrosses. So I'm going to go one way, and then I'm going to come back the other way, and I'm going to crisscross. This way I have a nice texture in there. Texture is how something feels. So the waffle cone kind of has those bumps, and I'm going to have all those in there. Now I have this ice cream up here that has a lot of open space. There's really no texture in there. And that's where the tools that are inside your little container are going to come in handy. So a tool like a fork, and people say, well, why is there a fork in there? Well, a fork is great for sprinkles. So if you want to do some sprinkles, you just press in. Now I'm not sticking it all the way through so that it's ripped all the way through the other side. I'm just pressing gentle inside here so that I have many different sprinkles inside there. I can also use an old marker cap. The marker caps are great for circles. So I can add some circles all the way through. I can also interlink those circles so that they connect and they kind of go all the way through. It makes a really neat little texture. the glue cap. I can either roll it to give me almost like a bulldozer tread tack texture. So a bulldozer track, or I can use the big circles and do bigger circles on top of my little circles. That way I have overlapping, I have some different shapes and stuff inside there. Now, if you happen to make a mistake and you don't like the way it looks, just use your finger, smooth it out, and it will disappear, and then you can go back over it and make it better. Remember the edges, we don't want them sharp. So if there's little pieces on there from you drawing, you want to take your finger and just smooth them out. The smoother it is, the better it will look. So smooth is safe. We want to make sure that there's no sharp, pokey things on there. Now, once we're done, I'm going to start coming around and picking up your clay projects. I will put them on my tray so that I can make sure your name and your table are on there so that I can get them back to you. What I need you to do is please make sure all your clay tools are inside the bucket and make sure the lid is on. Any extra clay, I will be around to collect. Don't worry about that. I will have a bin that I put it in. We recycle all of our clay. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to poke a hole in the top of your project. I don't want to be way up here. I want to be down a little bit. So if you're going to put something there, like a name or the date, it's going to be just wiped out there. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to poke it with a special tool. I'll twist it, and what it will do is it will steal a little bit of the clay, but it will leave us a nice, perfect little hole all the way through our clay project. Once we have that done, I will put them onto my tray, and that way they can dry. We have to let them go from the wet clay that they are now into what's called leather hard, into bone dry. Once they're bone dry, we put them in our kiln and we fire them. So while we are getting cleaned up, I will be around to give you your cleanup bucket with your washcloth inside. Please take the one that is on your side. Wash your hands good. Get all the clay off your hands. Please don't touch the clay once your hands are clean. Once your hands are clean, just put your washcloth back into the bucket. I will be around and collect those. My quietly sitting tables will get called to line up first. Yes, I know that I have to give you paper towels. Just be patient. I will be back around, and my quietly sitting tables that are sitting flat, quiet in their seat, that have everything picked up, will get called to go first. Thank you.